Okay. 3, 2, 1.
0.
No doubt you've snuck in a cheeky little message in there somewhere for me that I'll hear over editing.
Maybe I have, maybe I haven't.
We'll find out.
Press enter to begin.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to CPOD, the Curse of the Enthusiast podcast, and happy 2026. I am your host, Dorian, and with me is a man who's just claimed his Steam engine license. It's Chuffinell, here with us again today.
That's so relevant with the coffee steam wand burn as well. That's brilliant.
Yeah, he's just given me the story that he's burnt himself with a steam wand today. Like, coffee-related thing. He's not running around Hogwarts, trying to steam people.
I'd also be okay with that. If that's an option.
What spell would constitute like throwing steam out of a wand? What would that be?
What have you been playing?
No, that's it. You would absolutely run around Hogwarts. Macchiato.
But to be fair, cappuccino already sounds like some sort of spell, doesn't it?
I should have gone with cappuccino. My bad.
Or cappuccino. You put another I in there, and you've got Hogwarts, spell, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it. Just a swish and flick.
I'm guessing then.
Mm.
I'm guessing. Yeah. Well, on that note, we'll swish and flick into the topic of what have you been playing, and I'm going to guess, judging from this, is Hogwarts Legacy on your list by any chance?
It is. Funnily enough, I've been getting deeper and deeper into it, and it feels a little bit like. I'm by no means a Doctor Who fan, but it feels a little bit like a couple of episodes of Doctor Who where everything kind of goes so quickly in terms of what's happening throughout the episode. Oh, this must be happening because of this, and oh, of course, because of blah, 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 blah. So I've ended up in what's the village's name? Is it Hogsmeade? Hogsmeade, yeah. So I've ended up in there, and I've bought all my little stuff from Ollivander's, and then I've been in the sweet shop, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's 2 trolls. Oh, wow, did you fight that troll all by yourself? Yes, we did, that's right. And then we've followed this guy down to an alleyway, and he's talking to this goblin, and we go, I've seen that goblin before. We must hurry up back to Hogwarts. We've gone back to Hogwarts, and they said, you've made a grave enemy here, sir. It must have something to do with this ancient magic that you've discovered. And I'm going, slow down a bit. All right, come on, I'm only 5 hours into the game, and already there's a lot going on. Just get me back to my potions lessons, and I'll be happy. So it's. I wish it was a little bit more open in terms of like what you could do, because it's either little hidden tasks here and there, or it's big story. There doesn't seem to be much in the sense of like meaty side quests that are a bit more chill, unless it's looking for someone's gobstones, which was a weird little one.
A lot of them are like that. Even the side quests you get later on, you do get some sort of meaty ones, but they are, I found, largely fetch quests done up to feel not like fetch quests. But it's I've trained this ogre. Oh no, this ogre's out of control. Do you want me to go and kill it? Oh, would you? Yeah. Okay, it's dead. Oh, thank you. Okay, back to Hogwarts I go. I'm on a broom. Way Hogwarts. Way. So.
I've not got on
It's still a great game, though, isn't it?
I've not got on a broom yet, but I'm looking forward to that bit. Although I'm imagining, based on what the headmaster said, I won't be able to play Quidditch in this game, which sucks, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, they released another game, didn't they? They released a Quidditch game afterwards, or I think a different company. It wasn't the same company, I don't believe, but Wizarding World, I think, still signed it off. But it got terrible reviews. I think it was just been on sale for something like £5. So that separate game's not supposed to be amazing. That's
a shame, because you would have thought that all of the ingredients would be there to make an amazing game. That sucks. How about yourself? What have you been playing?
That was disappointing. Have you?
Oh, sorry. I interrupted you there.
Okay, so it's all good. So let me. I should have done this in advance. So I've already started my 2026 games that I've played.
Okay.
I've actually already completed 4 games, and it's currently the 4th of January.
That's insane. You are absolutely on it.
I'm trying to be. This is the year I want to beat that. I've also seemed to have started something in the other Discord. We saw all having a bit of a, not a competition, but we're like, yeah, let's see if we can do it. So our challenge is we wanted to do 26 games for 2026. Because I did 25 last year, so we want to one-up it. So I've done Double Dragon 2 The Revenge on NES.
Okay.
I completed Hue on Switch, which is a game that I dropped because it was too difficult. I just couldn't play it. Donkey Kong Land on the Game Boy and Kirby Dream Land on the Game Boy, which a few people have kicked off about and say that doesn't count because it's like an hour long. But I mean, I use that amazing. We'll get onto topic one in regards to emulation. I'll calm down. Otherwise, stuff I've been playing. So today I bought a game called oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it now. It's a fishing game.
Right.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but basically it's like an idle game, and it almost runs like a screensaver. And I think it's something like Chill and Fish or something. I'll find the name for it. But it's kind of like an 8-bit art style. But it's, as I say, it's like playing a screensaver almost. It's really nice, and the music and sound is fantastic. It's 120 frames on Switch. The idea is that when I'm working, I've just got that idle in the background doing jobs and stuff, and it's got a really nice music, and I can just look at the Switch and just
That's
bring me
nice.
back down.
Yeah.
I've been playing Star Fox on SNES, so I'm about halfway through that. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'm still playing. I'm now about 45 hours in, and I think I'm on chapter 6. So I'm kind of halfway, I would say, of that. I'm sure there's other things I've been playing.
I think you've gamed
Lego Party, and
I think you've gamed more hours than there have been this year so far. How have you managed that?
Oh no, sorry. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is existing playthrough from last year. Still playing that.
Okay.
But the other games have all been short games. They're all like Game Boy games and things like that. You know, and Hue I nearly completed. I gave up because basically I got so frustrated. Turns out I was actually like 40 minutes from the end.
Oh
so
no!
I just carried on and finished that. Yeah, and I kicked off about it because I really didn't get on with it, and I didn't touch it, as I say, for like a year. So caught up on all them. There is Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 I've been playing as well, which is really enjoyable. So what I've done is I've kind of, as we've had sort of the Christmas and Boxing Day sales and things, I've bought a backlog so that if I've got energy after work, I can play these sort of heavy story games, i.e. Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
If I'm tired, I can do Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and just sort of play that. Or if I'm really tired but I want to do something other than watching the TV, I've got the fishing game because it's like really relaxed. I'm just trying to see if I can find the name for it because I was talking about it earlier and it's really going to bother me. Dorian, you put your hands. It's Cast and Chill. Cast and Chill, it's called.
Cast and Chill. That's fair.
I got that in the end.
Another Harry Potter reference there.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds like something that would happen.
That was $9. So,
go on, sorry.
Well, Cast and Chill was £9.
Mm-hmm.
I completed Haven Park between now and I think the last podcast. That was £2. I've bought Duke Nukem 3D. That was £1.50. So there's been these amazing sort of retro games and just some sort of indie titles on the Nintendo Switch eShop, really cheap. So I've kind of just been delving through them. Anyway, that's enough about me talking. Have you played anything else, or is it just the old Hogwarts?
Well, I have, and it leads into what I've been doing, and it will also lead into our first topic, because last week we talked a little bit about me potentially starting a gaming journal, list out what I want to play throughout the year, and then how I felt about those games as I've completed them. I've really took that to heart, so I've stickered out a new little notebook that I've got. And I've made a very short list so far, but it will grow, of all of the games that I want to complete by the end of 2026. So, just to reel these off dead quick, we've got Tenchu 1, Dino Crisis, Harry Potter for the PS1, Hogwarts Legacy, Silent Hill 2 for the PS5, Death Stranding 2, Tomb Raider 2 for the PS1, and then Halo 1, 2, and 3. Now, this game will get bigger, no doubt, but the thing is, all of these games I own myself, so they're not on streaming services, and I'm not emulating these per se. I have them on the consoles that they were designed for. And so this does kind of lead in a little bit into our topic, because you don't mind emulating so much, and you like the extra stuff that it comes with, because I was at yours yesterday, and you were showing me your Switch 2, and some of the emulation that you get as part of like your Switch Online membership comes with games for the NES, the SNES, the Game Boy, but you can even emulate like N64, Mega Drive, and even some GameCube. But there are these little CRT filters, and I've tried CRT filters on a variety of things. They never look right, it's just scan lines. But what yours did, what the Switch 2 did, which amazed me so much, is not only did it add very faint scan lines, it blurred everything just a little bit, so that you don't see every individual pixel. And I remember you showed me Streets of Rage, and I went, oh, how does that look that good? And it was brilliant. But I have a copy of that game, but I run it on a Mega Drive, on a genuine CRT from what must be, I think, 1999 or 2000 or something like that. But if I was to put your Switch 2 side by side with this, they would look borderline the same. If not, the Switch 2 would arguably be better.
Well, the beauty of it as well, so that's actually available on any Switch. So the Switch 2 is only, so N64, I believe, definitely get, no, I actually think it might just be GameCube. GameCube is the only emulation of that membership which is locked to the Switch 2, so all the others are available on the first Switch. But yeah, this is the thing, I mean, we had played all sorts of, if I can, I would prefer to have the genuine hardware on a CRT every time. We tried playing some of the older consoles on the newer TVs, and it genuinely looks terrible. You can see all the jagged edges. It's just it's almost like they've designed it in the sort of confines that they had back then. So, to save memory, maybe we won't focus on aliasing of this perspective, of this jagged line, because they're not going to see it based on what most people are using. As soon as you expose that, you kind of remove some of the enjoyment from it. So we got an old CRT that I sort of renovated, for lack of a better term, and we were playing games on there, and it was suddenly like, my God, this is the childhood moment. This is how I remember it. We gifted that to my dad, because my dad's got loads of different retro consoles. We gifted that to him so he can actually play it, as it was as well.
Yeah.
So because we live in a bungalow, so we don't have a lot of room. When I found this with a CRT filter, it blew me away. As you say, I had to. We were very short on time, weren't we, at that particular moment of the day?
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got to show you this, because if I explained it, it wouldn't have done it justice. I think you had to see it for yourself. And yeah, it's fantastic.
It did look.
I'm glad that you think the same.
It looked immaculate, absolutely. So, based on that, because you're absolutely right. So, the Mega Drive games and in many cases, PlayStation 1 games and games that required a CRT did this little effect called dithering, and I found this out the other day. Do you remember when we were playing Halo and we kept switching between the old graphics and the new graphics, but the new graphics had this weird like cross-hatching thing going on in the shadows? Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's not interlacing, is it?
No, it's dithering. So what dithering is it's pixels of two different shades, and they'll gradually intensify from one shade to the other, by changing the pixel count, not changing the shade of each pixel. It's a bit like cross-hatching a pen. If you make enough lines together, it'll eventually look like it's going from white to different shades of grey to black. And what the CRT does is, because it's a little bit blurry and doesn't show every individual pixel, dithering then looks like shading. And here's the problem when it comes to like professional CRT TVs, or if you're using like an RGB cable as well, it will take that slight blur away. So all of a sudden you can see those individual pixels that are supposed to be merged by the slight blur of a CRT, and all of a sudden it gives the illusion's broken. And then you go, oh, so it's just pixels on pixels. There's no actual shading here. So it's a bit like taking a magnifying glass to a painting so you can see the brush strokes. You're not interested in the brush strokes. Like, step back and see the big picture for what it really is. And that's why, it's one of the reasons why I prefer to game on the genuine hardware on a genuine TV like that, because that's how it was supposed to be experienced. And it is, as you say, exactly one of the limitations that game developers had to get around. Like, okay, how do we use this to our advantage? And one of the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? One of the best examples that I could give you, if you go onto YouTube, because I don't think it's on your Switch online Mega Drive compilation. But if you go onto YouTube and take a look at Sonic the Hedgehog dithering for the waterfall, there's a waterfall that you can see through, and when it's dithered, you can see through it perfectly. The illusion of being translucent is perfect. But the moment that you change that to RGB, it's broken. You can see white and blue pixels just dotting about all over the place, and you think, what the hell is happening there? It's just because it was designed to be used with that dithering blur of a CRT. All of a sudden, because it wasn't...
I love that.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be RGB, the illusion is broken.
Your analogy of the brushstroke, by the way, kudos to that. If you came up with that yourself, that's fantastic. That's such a good way of explaining it.
I tried to think of how to best give that example, and I thought, honest to God, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Just how do I put this into like the simplest example I can give? But what just to kind of carry on that trail of thought before it leaves me. Well, the other thing that I genuinely enjoy, that I really adore about playing the original over emulation is the imperfections in the game itself. Because, say for example, I've got 2 copies of Soul Reaver 1 for the PlayStation 1. So the first one is for the PlayStation 1 itself, and the other is the remastered version. Which kind of, it sort of emulates the original PS1 version, but it doesn't. And there's things missing. There's things that's messed with it. So back in the days of a PlayStation or the Mega Drive, or right up until PS3, when you could get online updates, when someone handed you a disc with a game on it, that was the finished game. There was no messing around with that. So if it was glitchy, then that's how you got the game, and that's how you would go in to play the game, warts and all. But nowadays with games, they're all updated so they can fix things online and stuff like that. But with emulation as well, that I find that more glitches happen, so people will try to update that and change the emulator itself so you can tweak some settings, and here it runs better than ever. I don't want it to run better than ever. I want to run how I remember it, because that's the way it was designed, that's the way it came out, and that's the way we played it. Sorry.
I think that's answered a question for me actually as well, because I'd been playing a lot of emulation not through Nintendo directly. So other ROMs, of course, which I own because I own the legal game. I was playing them, and as you say, there's things that you can do. You can up the aliasing or change the renderer, and you can make it so it looks better than it came out.
Yep.
But then you almost fall into that discussion that we've had before, where it's like the PC thing. You then end up like chasing the perfection, rather than just enjoying it for what it is. And I think that's exactly part of the reason why I've fallen back to my Nintendo obsession. And the retro side really amplifies it, because again, I think Nintendo know that if they mess with how it was originally, there's going to be an uproar, from numerous people. So I think what they do is they make sure it runs smooth.
Yeah.
They add features in like the CRT filter. They give you the ability to rewind should you want it. You don't have to do it, of course. It's really up for people like myself, who's terrible at platformers, and if I go wrong, I can just rewind so I can learn without being super punished for it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like. Is that Nintendo polish and understanding, almost respect, I'd say, for the title. And that's exactly what you're saying. I think that the same thing draws me to theirs, because they've not messed with it too much. So, I'm with you. If you can play on the original hardware, that is always best. I like the convenience of the Switch and Nintendo's polish. But, I mean, we're going to the Leeds Gaming Market on the 8th of February. And if I see a DS Lite that can play Game Boy Advance games, I'm probably going to get it. If I see an N64, I'm going to struggle not to get it. If I see a SNES, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So I still very much agree with you.
I'm yet to buy tickets for that, but I've really enjoyed it last time. Fingers crossed I will see you at the Leeds Gaming Market. I was going to say it was a lot of fun, but I didn't go to that one actually. I went to Doncaster for the past 2 times, and that was a great gaming market. Leeds will be a lot of fun. So does
that mean it's been 3 years since we all went to Leeds? Because we did meet each other at Leeds. Was that 3 years ago?
It was, because Noah was still barely a year old, and he was wearing a little Sonic the Hedgehog hoodie. In fact, I could tell you exactly what year that was if you bear with me just a second. So just while I try and find
I think it was around
that. What would you say the benefits of emulation are? Because I just as an example, I've got a hacked PS Vita, and I've got backups of games that I play. that I can take out and about with me at any point. So, for example, I purchased Resident Evil 2 for my PS3 years ago. I backed that up onto my PS Vita so that I could play Resident Evil 2 wherever I go. And it's great to be able to have that on a little handheld. It's just an example of one of the things that how we can benefit from emulation. Do you find ever that there is something that you can go, oh wow, I'm so glad I'm emulating this and not playing this on original hardware?
All of the games that I mentioned earlier, because Double Dragon is above my difficulty band, really. You know, I play Xenoblade. I think the last two that I've played were on easy. Because I'm there for the experience. I want enough of a challenge, but if it's just going to punish me and send me to the start of the level again, I won't play it. I didn't play a lot of these games as a kid, because if it's that difficult, I would have walked away. With the emulation that's through the Nintendo polish, which again is a kind of a bit... I think it's too general to say that's normal emulation because it's gone through that polish, but it means you get all the extra features. So you get the save states, so you get the rewind. So I think what it is, it's the retro games. When you use emulation, you can basically bridge the gap for convenience.
Right.
So sometimes you lose a little bit of the experience. Again, Nintendo polish, I think I've bridged that gap. But I think it allows you to play where you want, get through games quicker, and enjoy them without as much frustration. Now, you could equally argue that takes away from the experience. I think it, absolutely does. But we now have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So I think that's where those handhelds, hey, that you can dock on the TV, play on the TV, great. And then it's not a case of, oh, well, I need to get to the save point. I can't come and do that. Just, no worries, save point, boom. I can even take the console out if you want, if you need the TV or whatever. So I think, for me, it's convenience, which means overall enjoyment because you get to play it more.
That is, it's a fine balance, I think. It's cheating a little bit, but you're glad for it. So say, for example, there's certain games that are... There's miles between save points. And I remember save points being an absolute bane. But they did come with a purpose, because if you're playing Resident Evil 2... and you've just done all this stuff and you think to yourself, I need to get to a save room and fast. And it kind of amplifies the tension of, if you don't get there soon, you're going to lose all your progress. And you go, oh no. And emulation loses that a little bit, because you're like, oh, well, I could just save wherever. And that's no problem at all. So you do lose a little bit of the tension. But then again, say, for example, if you're only looking to have 10 or 15 minutes during your commute on a tram or a train or a bus or whatever, and you go, you know what, I'm just going to pop out my Vita, my Game Boy or whatever, and just have a couple of levels of... And you can instantly pause it there, or save your state, pop it in your pocket, and out and about you go. It's brilliant because it is convenient. You lose something, but you gain something at the same time. So it's a nice little balance. I suppose you have to pick and choose what games you keep at home and which games you take out and about with you.
That's it. And I think for me is time's precious. If I'm rubbing my face against a wall, I'm more likely just to go, I'm okay with not putting this down. Like, if I'm not enjoying this, because this is a hobby to be for enjoyment, if I'm like really not enjoying this and actually getting wound up, I just won't play it. I have enough things in my life that if it winds up, I have to stick with it. This is one of those things I can go, well, actually. Yeah. So that's why I like the emulation side, because it just bridges that gap, that old difficulty, tier. It allows me. Put it this way: if I could play a Souls game and rewind on that boss and just have another go at getting that timing right, I'd play them. I'd love that. That would be great for me. And whilst it is cheating, it absolutely is cheating, who's setting the rules as to what is or isn't? If you get more enjoyment of it, is that not the point? Now, you can't necessarily go and, if it was an achievement, you can't necessarily brag that achievement and go, blah, 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 look what I've got. But that's not how I play games anyway, so it's one of them. It's one of them, I think. Subjective.
I think we're into something artistic here today, because the way you've just described that is brilliant in itself. The way that you've just said, that's how I want to play games, because that's how I enjoy it. And the idea of enjoying a game is exactly in the word play. That's what it is. It's not to be taken seriously. If someone's designed something to be played in a particular way, then okay, great. But we don't have to play it that way, because that's exactly what it is. It's play. It's not serious. We're there to have fun with it. So that's the way that you describe that's beautiful.
But that's it, isn't it? And you know, when I was younger, I was really into a lot of the competitive gaming and stuff like that. But we've both fallen way off of that wagon because that's not fun anymore.
Yeah,
not for us at least. You know,
it does get taken a little bit too seriously. And if it's for esports, and if it serves a purpose, then great. But if someone jumps online at 10 o'clock at night and has a hard day and says, you know what, I'm just going to beat the crap out of everyone online that I can find, and for a person like you and me. Well, we're cracking on a bit now. We're not cracking on that much, but you know, we come home and we're not all about that life. We're not going out and having a laugh. We're just ready to sit down in a comfy chair and just have a cuppa and have a quick game. And it's to have a laugh. It's not to be serious about it. Yeah,
exactly that. It's to take you away from the environment you're in into another world. It's for me. The best way I describe it is it's like reading a book for the same purpose, to learn something, to use your brain, and to be taken into a different environment. That's kind of... So we are really stretching this first topic out. But yeah.
Honestly,
that's exactly it.
It's a topic I'm passionate about, and it does deviate from what we had planned last week. But the moment that it came up for me, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not mad, because I could rant about topic one, because I'm all about, obviously, retro gaming in... an organic way by collecting all of those old games and playing them on the old hardware. It'll be a sad day when this CRT kit gives up the ghost, because people have clocked onto the fact that it's become very niche. And CRTs on like Facebook Marketplace now are worth quite a lot. I've seen 14-inch CRTs go up for about 120 quid because people know that us retro gamers are after them. And they're becoming rare.
But don't forget, though, you can repair a CRT. That there was the whole job of a TV engineer. So if yours goes, yeah, you might have to drive halfway down the country, but I guarantee someone could replace that part and could fix it. You know, which is the kind of a beautiful art of it, I'd say.
Absolutely.
And
yeah,
just dipping back into sort of the cozy games that we're going to talk about. That genre, I'd say, 100% fits into our last discussion. So you think about a lot of cozy gamers, it's sometimes the more casual gamer sometimes, but it's also the people who don't want to play something hyper competitive.
Yeah.
They find it fun to be playing something that takes them out of that environment. Again, kind of back to thinking of it like a book. So, I would still say that's somewhat linked. But with that, I'd say we can hop and skip along onto the second topic of this week.
We're cracking on a bit. We've talked at length, so yeah, let's roll into topic 2, the games that we're excited about for 2026. Have you got your eye on anything?
Couple of things. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to Switch and Xbox, so the exclusivity with Sony has come to an end. And they've actually said, I think one of the technical directors... I remember reading something, don't know any of the sources, so apologies in advance, basically saying that they don't want any of the exclusivity anymore. The idea is this is going to come out to as many platforms as possible.
Yeah.
Nintendo being one of them, which makes me very happy. Outbound looks like a really me sort of game. It's an indie title. Basically, you're in what looks like a Volkswagen camper van. Mm-hmm. You drive around in a very sort of cel-shaded sort of environment, and yeah, you'll essentially cut down trees, get wood, create fires, things like that, and then bit by bit evolve your camper van. So eventually you'll sort of press a button, I think, in the camper van, it's like you suddenly built a house on top of the caravan, but it can all collapse into the vehicle. It's kind of like a camping, exploring, chill, crafting title that you can play with friends. So that I'm really excited for, and it's had its Switch 2 and it sort of release been announced, so I'm excited for that. I'm hoping that they haven't announced this, but I'd love them to announce something to do with Xenoblade.
Okay.
So Xenoblade originally, I think, was something crazy like a 99.1% Nintendo-owned product. I know it's Monolith Soft, but I think they had, as I say, there was a point-something percentage that wasn't owned by Nintendo. Last year or the year before, Nintendo bought it outright, so Monolith Soft, and therefore Xenoblade, is now a first-party title. So with the power of the Switch 2, bear in mind how good the previous Xenoblades have been, I'm just on the edge of my seat waiting for some kind of announcement for that.
Yeah.
Also a game called Witchbrook, which is another sort of cozy game. 8-bit game. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Iona and a few other people on YouTube have announced that. So, there's a few other bits here and there. I think it's going to be a good year. We've already got some really decent announcements. What about yourself?
Well, there was the announcement of another Legend of Zelda game coming up this year as well, wasn't there?
I don't believe so.
No. Let me just quickly, because I'm just going through, because I've got to remind myself. I'm on INGN's website now. I'm trying to remind myself of what's actually coming out this year because I've forgotten, and I've just come past it. Where was it now? Let's have a quick look. Oh no, it's not Legend of Zelda. It's Legend of Heroes. My bad. Oh, I've just got your hopes up.
You did. I'm literally searching behind where I'm sat. There's literally Link amiibos and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So I was quite excited for that. So what games are you excited for then? Have you had a look? Have you got your eyes on anything?
Well, Bloober have recently been making little teasers on their website of this code that you've got to decipher, which I haven't, but no doubt people in the comments already have. And there's rumours about what that could be. So they recently released a game called Chronos, which is apparently very well received. And there are rumours that this might simply be DLC for Chronos. But earlier last year, shortly after the success that was the remake of Silent Hill 2, they did announce that they were in progress with developing Silent Hill 1. Which made me go, yes, please. And so there's the anticipation that this clue might be a Silent Hill 1 reference, a Silent Hill 1 remake, maybe a teaser, maybe a release date. We don't know yet. Still very too early to tell. But no doubt Bloober Team will announce this on the website and on social media over the next coming days or next coming weeks. Sorry, I've got a new chair, and the arms don't sit like they're very... They move a lot, so
I could feel and hear you getting agitated. So I could hear the distraction in your voice.
I like this new chair. I just wish the arms would stay still. My bad. There was also, I was a bit apprehensive about First Light. So I grew up playing not playing James Bond games. My apologies. Watching James Bond films. My dad was a big James Bond fan, especially sort of towards the early 90s. He had like the VHS box set all the way up to Tomorrow Never Dies, and I watched all of them. And then I studied a little bit of James Bond in university with On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I enjoy them. I like the Hitman games as well, but I do find them very difficult. They're fun, and I love the idea that you can take down a target in whatever way you want. And that's why I find them difficult, because I can't choose. And I'm not a very stealthy bloke. I'm normally just running guns blazing, which is an option. It's the wrong option, but it's an option. And so the idea of playing a 007 game in that kind of context of, right, here is your mission. How you do that is up to you. Makes me go, ooh, I like the sound of that. So there's a part of me that is looking forward to the new James Bond game a little bit later this year. But I'm also apprehensive in the sense that I know I'm going to find it too difficult to play properly because I suck at stealth games so much. Other than those, obviously any chances of a Legacy of Kain game coming out have been swiped away from the board, as it were, because I'm not sure who, but someone has confirmed that there was a Legacy of Kain game in talks, not development, but they were talking about it, and they've turned around and said it's just not worth it, which sucks, to be quite honest, because that's a little bit like yourself, where like you're aching for this new game coming out and you're going, yes, can't wait for this, and all of us Legacy of Kain fans have been dying for a new game soon, and we've all been told, nah, sorry guys, it's not going to happen. So who knows when that's gonna drop. Sorry, who knows when, if it happens at all. It won't happen. I'm divulging. Stop me, please. I'm tired.
Well, just do you know James Bond in Goldfinger? Mm-hmm. There's a particular scene where doesn't he electrocute someone by pushing a fan or something into the bath, and then after the man's just died, his words were shocking, positively shocking. The man's a crazy person.
Oh yeah, it's
You've just killed a man. Shocking.
those little one-liners were some of the best parts of the films, because even in the last James Bond film that came out with Daniel Craig, there's a guy that's got like this electronic eye, but Daniel Craig's watch has got like a little EMP. And so he turns on the EMP on his watch, and the eye explodes in this guy's head. And it's not very graphic, but someone on the radio goes, "Bond, are you all right?" It says, "Had to show a man a watch." Blew his mind. And it's just fantastic. So good. Speaking of, there is one other thing
Does remind me of the hot fuzz scene.
Go on, which hot fuzz scene?
Where you're saying about... you should have told him to cool off when you put him into the freezer.
Yes.
No, well, I did hit him over the head with the Japanese peace lily.
That's
Playtime's over.
Yeah, because Hot Fuzz does borrow from some of that, where someone would often like give a one-liner before they end up taking the bad guy out, and it's very much in a similar vein. So just finishing off. So the other thing that I wanted to mention that I am looking forward to is kind of game related, and it's going to suck, but I'm going to love it anyway, is Mortal Kombat 2. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be so fun. Have you seen any of the Mortal Kombat films?
I didn't even know there was one coming out. I know there was a Street Fighter film coming out, which looks interesting. But I don't think I've seen
that's to put it delicately.
Yeah.
No,
I've not seen either of them. Are they good? Is the original one good?
Oh, it's so bad it's good. So when you say the original, okay. I'm assuming you mean the 1995 version, which came out roughly in line with sort of Mortal Kombat 3 in 1995, the arcade game. And it's just dumb fun with an incredible soundtrack. Again, you've got to remember that it's the 90s, so it's very sort of hard-hitting, in-your-face house and a lot of industrial metals. So there's Gravity Kills, there's Pig, there's Stabbing Westward, one of your favourite 90s bands, in the soundtrack. And it's great. The CGI is atrocious, which is just so much fun. But the fights are genuinely good. And there are some relatively big names for back in 1995, like Christopher Lambert as Raiden. And then the sequel came out, which we don't need to talk about. No one ever needs to talk about that film. It's atrocious and one of the worst things ever put to film. And then kind of there was a new hype for Mortal Kombat that came out roughly about Mortal Kombat 11, or the reboot, which was Mortal Kombat 1. And so there was a new film that came out in 2022. And again, it's not necessarily an amazing film, but it is a lot of fun. You've got your favourite characters, you've got your fatalities, but because we're in a more desensitized sort of cinema culture at the moment, the fatalities are much more gory. There's F-bombs left, right, and centre, and there's references, and it makes it a lot of fun. And the character Kano, who's been around since the original Mortal Kombat game, is the comic relief, and he's easily the best character in the film because his one-liners are absolutely fantastic, and the situations that he gets himself in. It's great martial arts. The CGI is really, really impressive in it as well. And so that's what makes me look forward to the new one, Mortal Kombat 2, because I'm hoping it's just going to be more of the same. But it's also got Carl Urban in it, and Carl Urban's brilliant in every film that he's in, even the atrocity that was Doom in 2005. I thought he was good in that. So I can't wait for May.
As you know, it's a running joke at my work, especially. Pop culture, films, actors, actresses, I know no names, I know no culture. When I was younger, I stayed in playing with PCs. That's all I was doing. I was just playing on computers and taking them apart, and that's all I did. You say names, I've got no idea. However, what I always find interesting is people who know what they're talking about and know a lot about films will say a film's terrible. For example, Doom. I loved that film when it came out. I really enjoyed that film.
It's all
it
right.
happens quite often.
It's I'll sit and watch it because, again, it's fun. It's not necessarily a film that you can break apart and go, that's interesting. I especially like the little hints in this context and what if, and there's a lot of mystery. No, it's a couple of guys on Mars shooting things and making references to hell. That's all that film is. But it's fun. It's all right.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that's what the new Mortal Kombat. Also, just on the thing you've said, but apparently you don't do popular culture. You just gave me a quote from 1963. So
I also Googled it, but we don't need to talk about that.
you know what we've been talking about, where you ruined the illusion, man. Come on, you had me going.
Oh, sorry. When did you say it was from?
I want to say 1963. I could be wrong.
Oh, it's 1964. You were close.
Oh no! Oh, that's it.
And I knew that off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's impressive stuff right there. Can you tell me?
What can I say?
Which James Bond film was that numerically?
So I think this is a good time for us to move over to this week's news.
Indeed, news time.
The news at 10 to 9. Okay, I'll. If you're happy for me to, I will rattle off a few of these.
Go for it.
What's been lovely for me, just as a sidetrack here, is I work in the Microsoft ecosystem very heavily in IT, and it's been lovely. The last 2 weeks, I've played Nintendo stuff, and I've been very much just out of that ecosystem, and it's been lovely as a breath of fresh air. So what do I read in tech news before I start work again tomorrow? Turns out Microsoft have silently removed the feature where you used to be able to enable or activate Windows without being connected to the internet.
Right.
This goes back to I think one of the rants in the earlier episodes. Yeah, Windows can only be activated now if you're connected to the internet, which is pretty poor.
Yeah, because what happens if... Wait, does that include older... Surely it wouldn't include older versions of Windows as well, because they've all dropped support for those anyway, right?
Correct. Yeah, if it's end of life, yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't go and put that singular update in to remove that feature. No, once they're end of life, they have no ongoing support. Next topic, we're Claude AI. Apparently, someone basically requested the AI to build and script its own NES emulator, and it actually did it, and it worked. Someone was actually playing Donkey Kong, which it's the Donkey Kong versus Mario one, essentially. Apparently, the emulation was really slow, and of course, it had some issues, but the fact that it was able to do that is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pokemon Wind and Wave. This was from one of the big Pokemon leaks. I think it was the Game Freak leak. This was one of the titles which they had found. It looks like the website for that has now actually been registered. If you go to the website, it redirects you to the Pokemon.com's website. So hopefully, that could be the next game coming out.
Right.
Lauren has AZ. I haven't played it. I did play Scarlet and Violet, and I really enjoyed that one. And lastly, there was a surprise video that came out. I don't know if you've seen this.
No.
So it shows the old school Pikachu. As in like the ones from the very first few gens.
Definitely
the first
not
few
seen
games.
this, no.
And it jumps across the screen. I think it says, I can't remember if it's 25th or 30th. It says the anniversary. I think it's the 30th. I could be wrong. It shows the anniversary, and then just at the end of it, it pops up with a date, a February date. And that's it.
Oh, wow.
That's all we know. So I'm secretly hoping, because it's Pikachu, yellow background, and it's the old school Pikachu, I'm really hoping that this means they're going to announce a sort of a remake or remaster of Pokemon Yellow. And I know you're going to die inside when I say remake, remaster, but that's the Pokemon that everyone's been screaming out for.
Yeah.
Just make one in the old style or redo it, because that's the one that everyone wants. We don't necessarily want, the AZ style it's a different direction. Scarlet was a very different direction, so was Arceus, but that would be just bliss. So everything crossed for that. I know you're a PlayStation man.
Yes.
Have you seen some of the leaks about the pirate, the seas happening on PlayStation 5 at the moment?
Oh, this rings a bell. I must have come across something, but just scrolled past it.
I don't know too much about it, I must be honest, but I think that essentially some of the source code, I think there's keys they use for authentication have basically been exposed. People have now got a hold of those keys, so they're able to inject software and piracy basically onto the console itself, but it also means that a lot of online PlayStation 5 games are now open to hacking, basically. So they're sort of being locked to console, and there won't be anyone hacking in this lobby. It's opened all of that up. So I think Sony are acting as fast as they can to get that resolved. But yeah, it's quite big if you're on the PlayStation side, that's for sure.
So was this related
it's only a matter of time.
Is that related to the news that you had last week where you said that apparently people were being kicked from lobbies by just random players?
No, that was actually an attack on Ubisoft. I can't remember exactly what it's found, but they basically found there was something in the game itself where it received authentication from something, and they were basically able to spoof that token, at which point it just granted all the access. So that that attack was carried out by various teams. It wasn't just one group. It was actually various people working together to expose that.
Right.
So this one is actual PlayStation 5 ROM keys have allegedly been leaked, and that's how people are hacking. So it's the keys at the root level 0, which they can enable decryption for bootloading, which could allow some hackers to choose and control what software they want to run on that software. So yeah, it's before the kernel even loads the OS, so it's at a really basic software layer. So it's pretty integral. So I don't know how Sony are going to handle that, but it's as you know, it's always a matter of time. Hackers will always find a way, but it's how they control it.
Yeah, I feel like at some point it becomes a challenge, because even when the PS5 updates, then they come out with the PS6, and the PS6 have got these new security measures in place, and then the hackers will turn around and say, all right, let's break this apart and see what we can do. It, as you say, it is just a matter of time before someone figures it out.
Ethical hackers, I think, are great. They find the exploits and go to the company and report it. I think that's fantastic. But yeah, there's a lot of people who expose it. And this is where Nintendo gets some criticism, because, of course, the Switch 1 became hackable. So you bought this thing, you slid down the side of the Switch itself, you fused the 2 pins, which then allowed you to load some other software. But what I like about Nintendo is to protect their IP and the way they run things. They would just ban that console indefinitely. Yeah. And a lot of people were really against that, saying they'd bought the hardware. Well, no, they've got to protect their IP. They've got to protect what makes Nintendo, which is that polish. So if they don't control that, it becomes a snowball effect.
Yeah.
I know the PS4 is quite openly hacked and things. So yeah, it's an interesting one. So we'll follow it. We'll see how Sony handle it.
Well, fingers crossed for Sony that it doesn't become as big as some of the previous, how should we call it, controversies that they've had over the PS3 and PS4 over the years.
You might get some free the PlayStation Network.
Maybe. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So, let's close up for today. What should we discuss next week, do we think?
Oh, so I actually had a suggestion. So one of our listeners and friends, Jack Parrott, which was very nice. He's been listening, so hello, Jack. Thank you very much. I think we mentioned him in an earlier episode. He had some suggestions, so we were talking about, and I think this is a brilliant idea.
Yep.
Which is, let's talk about some of the board games that we've played. So, in particular, if you remember, you were a very honest man. I disbelieved you. And you were correct. So we'll get into that. So we'll talk about our favourite board games, some funny moments we've had, and maybe we should look at playing some tabletop sim or something one day as well. Getting on that.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah,
playing some there. So yeah. So your favourite board game, some of your funny moments, best experiences. And let's keep the second topic as a bit of a mystery. Let's see what takes our fancy in the next week.
Yeah.
And let's come up with it on the fly, I think.
Absolutely. Or, alternatively, if our viewers want to hear us talk about anything in particular or elaborate on some of the points that we've made, feel free to pop a comment, either on Spotify, on Apple, or on YouTube, or across all of those platforms if you're listening. If you are listening, thank you very much for doing so. If you're a newcomer, hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you've come back for more, thank you again for listening. We've been keeping an eye on our analytics, and the responses that we're getting and the views that we're getting are incredible. We are so happy that you guys are enjoying this podcast. We intend to continue doing this because we have loads of fun doing it, and we love hearing back from you guys. But we are going to sign off now because that's all we've got time for today. Once again, happy 2026 to you all. Hope you've had a fantastic new year and hope you have a great 2026. Thanks for listening. Tune in again next week. See you guys.
Press enter to